Hey guys, before we start the podcast, I just wanted to let you all know that my husband, Bert Kreischer, is starting his new Permission to Party World Tour in Rockford, Illinois on September 18th with all new material. He's been off the road for almost a year and he's ready to get back out there, and I'm ready for him to get back out there. Tons of dates and cities. Go to bertbertbert.com to find a show near you.
We laughed through this whole thing.
Right.
Because it was so absurd.
Yeah.
And when you allowed yourself to feel the gravity of what the reality of this thing was, it was overwhelming.
I can only imagine. So tell me, are you ready to tell me the story?
Oh, yes. Are we recording? Is it on? Are we
Oh, yeah,
doing this?
We've been recording.
Oh, this whole time.
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, hello. Yeah. So it's been a wacky year for me where it's like something wild and great will happen. And then something, I don't want to necessarily say bad, but something sort of like shocking will happen. So in March, I booked Colbert, my late night debut on Colbert. Within the hour, here's the crazy, it was amazing. But I got the call that I booked it. And I've been working so hard. You know, it's like, oh my God, it pays off. And I was getting calls in from people. And I get this call from this New Jersey number. I was like, I don't recognize this, but it's probably somebody calling to say congratulations. And I pick it up and it's my dermatologist. And he's like, hey, you've got skin cancer.
What?
And I was like, I literally said to him, I don't have time for this. I'm making my late night debut.
Right?
I don't have time for cancer.
No.
Is what I said.
No one has
to him.
time for cancer.
No one. So I got that cut out of my and it was on my face too. So you can't see it now. I'm doing a very good job of covering up my scars. I've had to learn some new fun makeup tricks, but they had to slice down my face. So, you know, as a female in the entertainment industry, it was all very, very shocking to suddenly be, and because nobody knows, Mohs surgery is very invasive and they don't sell it like that. They don't give you the whole preparation of how intense. They call it Mohs, I think, because they just keep taking Moh. They could take Moh and Moh skin until there is no Moh to take. And I was like, this is nuts. And I also had a millennial doctor who don't get one of those because they deliver news in a way that is so upsetting. So I went in that day. It was just right here. And I went in that day to just get this done. And I thought, in my mind, it's like having a biopsy, you know?
Right.
You just think, oh, they're going to cut it out and I'm going to walk home. I had shows all weekend planned. And this guy comes in and he's like, yeah, this is going to be bad. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, it's going to leave a huge gash on your face.
What?
I would cancel your shows if I were you. And I was like, wait, what? And so it ended up being this huge thing where I had to have reconstructive surgery.
Oh my God.
So it was thank God I did it after I filmed Colbert.
Yeah.
But it was okay, so with one good thing, it's with the sweet comes the sour.
Yeah.
So I had recovered from that. And then I got a call about going to do a week's worth of shows in Israel for this foundation called Comedy for Koby. And they raise money for victims of terror and trauma. Now, I had heard about this. I knew friends who had done it. And basically, they say it's a wild experience because it's you go to Israel and you do shows for these people and they're in these big theaters. And, you know, I don't know whose name I should or shouldn't say in any of this, but somebody had dropped out because they ended up getting a movie. So I was the replacement for that person. And it sort of just dropped into my lap at this time where I was like, well, I got nothing going on that week. And I just thought, I know that this is such a hot topic. It's such a third rail when you say Israel right now. And I know that look, it's the Middle East. It's never just going to be a walk in the park. You're not going to Bermuda. I understood all of that, but I understood that in a very surfacey level. And I just thought, when are you going to get the chance to see some of the things that you would see there? I'm a big traveler. I love traveling, but I would never purposefully go to that area of the world. And, I understood, on a cerebral level that there's unrest, but it always feels like it's sort of an unresty place. But this felt like things were in a more chill state of unrest. And I know that sounds stupid. I know all of it sounds foolish, but also it coincided with a time where it was like I had done the Late Show and then I had this cancer removed. It ended up being much more intense than I thought. And like it knocked me out of the scene for like almost 2 weeks. I had to heal and I didn't expect any of that. So I was just in this weird headspace where this came in at the right time where I was like, you know what? I need to go and see, and this is exactly what I said. I said, I need to see something bigger than myself. I need to feel small. Like, when you just are in your own little tiny myopic life and you're getting so obsessed and you're sort of, obsessing about the things that you're not getting or what you're not doing or what you're not seeing and you're panicking and you're like, I was like, this is so stupid. I just need to like get outside of myself. And it just felt like what a perfect opportunity to go to a place and see something that is completely foreign and to have an experience that's just going to be something that you don't expect.
Totally. Yeah, I get
Be
that.
Be careful what you manifest. Be specific about what it is that you want to achieve because someone up there is laughing and said, hold my beer, and delivered me the wildest experience of my life.
Wow.
Something none of us could really, nobody, even everybody who lived there couldn't see what happened coming.
Wow.
So it was we were supposed to be there for about 10 days, roughly. It's like you fly on a Tuesday, but you get there on a Wednesday. They're 7 hours ahead. And a very great flight, uneventful, fabulous. I get there. First night we're there, I was with Brian Scott McFadden and Ray Ellen. So I don't know if you know these guys, comics. Great guys. I mean, I knew them before, but I know them now. They are family now, you know? And, they showed up like we did like this almost open mic show the first night we were there. It was such a wild experience. Also, like when you touch down in a place where the language is so wildly different than you, like everything is in Hebrew, we don't share an alphabet. So you're so aware of how different this is right away. Mm-hmm. Great. So you don't know if your comedy's going to get over in a place like this. And that was the challenge that I wanted. Mm-hmm. I wanted to know if I could figure out what they like and how you can get over in certain places like that. Mm-hmm. First night, have this little open mic, great, and go to sleep the first night, trying to sleep, completely jet lagged. At 2 a.m., I get a call from Mike Clark, who books Comics Come Home. And that was when I found out I was in Jerusalem. I picked up the phone. I was like, Mike, I'm in Jerusalem. And he's like, well, get up because you just booked Comics Come Home. Freaking out. Huge thing for my family. I'm going to be at the Boston Garden. So excited. Go down the next day. For some reason in Israel, they're obsessed with a breakfast buffet. I don't know what this is all about. Like everywhere you go, everybody talks about the breakfast buffets. We're in our hotel and it's the size of the wall. It is a very impressive buffet.
Yeah.
But it's also like everything you're like, oh, should I have pizza at 8 a.m.? Sure, why not? It's like the freshest, best food you've ever seen in your life, like hummus, Israeli salad. So I meet up the guys the next day and we have a breakfast buffet. We had one day to be tourists. And we didn't know that. But we go to Old City, Jerusalem. We go to the Wailing Wall. I put prayers in the Wailing Wall. I saw the place where Jesus was crucified. Like, I've never been a hugely religious person, but it's one of these places that you go to that you feel the gravity of this place. Mm. There's also a wild tension that exists there because it's like they're all sort of coexisting in the same place at the same time. So there's like an Arab corridor, a Muslim corridor, Christian, Jewish corridor, and everybody comes to this place for their own religious purposes. So it felt wild. It felt like nothing I'd seen before. Mm-hmm. and you sort of like appreciated the gravity of what you were seeing. So it was kind of a wild, and I got, gallons of holy water from my family because my aunt's like, I need some holy water. I need some rosary beads. I was like, so I went shopping. The guy who ran the program was like, I know a guy. He can get you the best holy water. So I got like a good deal on holy water. I bought gallons of it. And, we're at the hotel and we do our first show that night. We're supposed to do 6 shows. And Friday was off because it was Shabbos. So we were supposed to go to a Shabbat dinner on Friday instead and do the first show. A couple hundred people sold out. And it's great. And they're so responsive. And now I'm just remembering this now as I'm saying this. We did a Q&A with them afterwards. And someone in the audience said, were your families worried about you coming over here? Did anybody try to stop you from coming here? And I picked up the mic and I was like, you want to know something weird? No one's tried to stop me. Like, my husband was like, nobody tried to like get in my way of really going, except for one person. My friend Aiden had texted me 2 weeks before. And he goes, hey, I have friends who live there. They say that things are really tense over there and there's like bomb scares and stuff. I don't think you should go. And I told him, I was like, if it was dangerous, they wouldn't bring us over there. Like if things were popping off in a way that was so life-threatening, I doubt that they would be like, let's have some comedy right now.
Yeah, right?
Okay. But like nobody, other than that, nobody was going to stop me from going. And we all go back to our hotel. I take a pill this time. I want to sleep through the night. At 3 a.m., my phone starts going off. And it's like a flood warning sound on your phone or like an Amber Alert, like it shocks me awake, but I was like, oh my God. And I go to grab my phone. It's all in Hebrew.
Oh God.
And yeah. So I'm like, what? And also like my eyes are scrambled. So at first I'm like, oh, I just can't read it. And I was like, no, I can't read it.
Right.
It's in Hebrew. And we get a text from the guy who was, the guy who brought us over there, this guy, Avi, was running this. He goes, meet us downstairs. Okay. Oh, this is the other thing. So when you're walking around Israel, the IDF is everywhere because everybody serves in the IDF. So people just wear machine guns over their shoulders like their purses.
Oh my God.
It's just something that like, that's part of their life over there. Mm-hmm. Like the cultural things that I have learned in this experience. So I go down to the basement and everybody from the hotel is sort of like milling around down there. And there's a girl who looks like a Kardashian. The IDF is the hottest military you'll ever see. And she was like sleeping on, like sort of like resting her eyes, and she had her machine gun over her chest. And I was like, I hope the safety is on that thing. Because if I was holding that and that alarm went off, I would have shot the heads off of everybody in that room.
Right.
Unintentional. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But so I go down and we're like, what's happening? And they said, Israel just sent out a warning to the whole country that they blew up some nuclear sites and some scientists in Iran. And I was like, okay. But it's 3 a.m. You don't even know. What? Like, what? How can I? Okay. This is like the stuff you see on the news, but also they were like, so they just wanted to give a heads up to the whole country. And the people who were sort of local from there were like, ugh, the IDF woke us up. Meanwhile, I'm like, should we be nervous about this?
Yeah.
And then we got an all clear. We go back to our rooms. It goes off again. The alarm goes off again. 2 hours later, I go back down. It's sort of the same thing. And then things started to escalate pretty quickly. But the next day, we wake up where it felt like the beginning of COVID is the best way to describe it. Like, in the beginning of COVID when we were like, well, should we be not doing things or should we not? Let's just keep going. Like, let's keep going to restaurants. And then like things would slowly ramp up. And also you didn't know what the time frame was on COVID. Remember, we were like, it'll be over by Easter.
Right.
And then cut to 2 years later and you're still like putting masks on.
Yep.
It had that same feeling, which was anxiety riddling.
Yeah.
But we wake up the next day and we're like, okay. We find out that the Home Front Command, which is like their version of Homeland Security, basically says no public gatherings, no big gatherings allowed, don't go, like work from home, no school, no camps, and the airspace is closed. So in the dead of night, because they knew that this operation was going to happen, they moved all of the planes out of the country.
Wow. This is an ad by BetterHelp. These days, it feels like there's advice for everything: cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes. But how do you know what actually works for you? With the internet and information overload about mental health and wellness, it can be a struggle to know what's true and what actions to take these days. Using trusted resources and talking to live therapists can get you personalized recommendations and help you break through the noise. I've been in therapy for a long, long time, and I find having that professional person to bounce your problems or concerned off of to be an invaluable part of my mental health. It makes its way into my marriage, into my parenting, into running my business. My therapist is one of my key partners in life, and if you haven't tried it, I think you should give it a shot. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. It's convenient, too. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/wife. That's betterhelp.com/wife.
You know, we didn't know what to do. So the next day we were like, let's go to the U.S. Embassy. Could not be less help if they tried.
Oh my God.
Could not be less help if they bombed me directly. We walked up to the doors of the U.S. Embassy and we were like, hey, we bring our passports. We're like, we're American citizens. Is there a way to get us out of here, or should we be concerned? And they were like, you should get out of the streets. Another alert is coming in right now. Another bomb threat. So they say an alert is going to go off. And we're like, well, can we go in the embassy? And they said, no. I was like, don't we pay taxes for this?
Yes.
And we got turned away.
Why?
They just said you can't come in. And apparently, if you were on the streets when one of these alerts goes off and you can't get to a safe place or a bunker or cover or whatever, wherever you're supposed to go, you're supposed to lie down on the ground with your face down and your hands over your, like, it was, we were like, well, we got to go find a place. And then we went to this hotel, King David, and they were going to turn us away too. And my friend said, wait a minute, you're running around to Holy Land looking for an inn,
right,
to rest?
Right.
And I was like, the only thing missing is a camel and a savior.
Totally.
Other than that, that's the whole story. So the whole first day was sort of like threats were coming in, but then they weren't happening. And things were still going. Like we went to the Shuk, which is like this outdoor market. So like we were still functioning. And then we still went to the Shabbat dinner that night at this people's house.
What?
Because, yeah, well, we were like, the guy who runs it, he's like, we're going to go to this dinner. Like, you have to act normal. You have to act like, he's not from Israel, but he's like, this is what happens when you're in Israel. It's like bomb alerts go off and then you go to a safe space, you go to a bunker, and then they clear you and then you go. But this was not, look, they're always getting alerts, but anybody there will tell you this was not the usual course of events for them. So we went to this dinner in this stranger's house.
It feels like you must have been having an outer body experience.
It was like a fever dream, LeeAnn. Yeah. Every new thing. So we go to this dinner, and this was when things for me, this was when the penny dropped that things were, we were unsafe. We were like really.
Oh, you mean like just now, not the embassy not letting you in?
Not the U.S. Embassy even. It was this night. So it's like now we're about 24 hours into this thing. Iran has officially declared war. And I can't believe I'm saying that to like my parents. When I called them, I was like, so Iran declared war, just so you know. And I could only talk to them when I was attached to Wi-Fi. So there would be like swaths of time I couldn't get in touch with them. And we go to this person's house. And now we're suddenly like at dinner in a backyard. And what panicked me was because they're also used to it. They're used to, like, bunkers and bomb shelters are built into everybody's home. Every hotel has them. It is a way of life. It is what they do. But she goes, as far as this whole Iran thing goes, I trust the IDF. I trust the Iron Dome. I know they've got us. And frankly, if something happens, well, maybe that's God's plan. And I was like, ma'am, no, that is not God's plan for me.
Right.
God's plan was for me to come over here to make some coin
and
to
tell
see a
some
place,
jokes,
tell some tell some fart jokes, and get home.
Yeah.
And that, as soon as she said that, an air raid siren went off. And I had never heard that before. So it was like, goes off. And I was like, oh my God. It was, and they all get up calmly. Everybody gets up calmly and they walk downstairs to their bunker. And it's like, a bedroom. It's like an average day. We're just walking out of this bedroom, which has reinforced steel and no Wi-Fi.
Oh my God.
They're all sitting there and they're just talking normally. It was like they were talking about the Knicks or something. And then I just feel the panic attack like coming up from the base of my spine. I look over, Brian catches my eyes and he sees I'm about to go. And I burst into tears because this was, what is this?
Yeah.
And you can hear the missiles exploding overhead now because they're intercepting them. And so you hear boom, crash, boom, like, oh my God. And the air raid sirens are going off and they're just like, so, do you guys like the coleslaw? And you're like,
what?
And I was like, I can't die here. I was like, when she said God's plan, it felt like I was suddenly in a cult, and that panicky, like, whoa, I should not be here. I'm in the wrong place. Like I told Patty, I was like, I feel like I'm at a multi-level marketing meeting all of a sudden. Like, get on board to sell vitamins and get your head blown off by Iran. And their nephew came in at one point and was like, you guys, it's just the Houthis. And they were like, oh, Yemen. And then we went back upstairs and I was like, what? Just the Houthis? What? So now all these things that I have been seeing on the news are like in their backyard.
Wow.
We go back up, dinner happens again. And then I went in to go to the bathroom. I come back out. They're all coming back in. Ray goes, we just saw a missile fly overhead. We have to go back down. And they said, this is Iran. And then they got serious. And that's when I freaked out. As opposed to before. I've been freaking out this whole time.
Right.
But then, they got quiet in the bunker. And it told you that this was ramping up. And so now they're all, she said to us, she goes, after this next missile strike, you guys should really head back to your hotel.
What? What? She was going to turn you out on the street? She was just going to let you loose?
Yes. And you know that she didn't want us to get stuck there. It was like somebody getting stuck at your house for a blizzard. She said it like that. She was like, oh, in between missile strikes, you got to go. It's going to get real bad out there.
Oh, my God. So let me send you out there where it's going to get real bad. What?
Yeah. What? And let me tell you, Uber over there is fantastic because we got an Uber back to our hotel. And I was like, good for you. Make that coin.
Right?
While the missiles fly overhead.
Oh, my God.
And that first night when we had to move our hotel also. That was the other thing that panicked me. They said, our hotel is closing. You have to, we're because it's not prepared for whatever's coming in. So they moved us to a different hotel that had more bunkers, more bomb shelters. And so that also was shocking.
Yeah.
And so to like also pack your stuff up and realize you packed all wrong.
Right.
I packed like I was going to go and sit on the beach in Tel Aviv and live my glorious beachy Mediterranean life. And like I said, I should have been dressed in like Sigourney Weaver from Aliens. I should have like like Charlize Theron in Mad Max. I just needed like some crepe.
Right.
And some of that like stuff you use in football under my eyes. That's all you need.
Oh my
for
God.
a war. And we panic packed and we pushed everything in there. And then that first night, it got really bad. So you had to download this app called the Homefront Command app. And it's very, I mean, they've had to develop this system over years. It's a very good system. It's like they give you a warning when you should be near a shelter. They give you a warning for when you should get in the shelter. And they give you a warning if missiles are dropping in your specific area.
Wow.
Based on your GPS. I could not believe I was living the life that I was living all of a sudden. Now, at this point, shows are getting canceled. We do not know when the airspace is going to open again. Technically, we have flights out that next Thursday, and this was Friday. So now we knew we were going to be there in Israel till like Thursday, and hopefully the airspace will open up. Judy Gold, if you know Judy Gold, the comedian, she was in Tel Aviv.
Oh my God.
Doing like a diplomatic mission, basically. So we're back and forth with her. Tel Aviv was worse. We were in Jerusalem, and Tel Aviv was getting lit up. And Caitlyn Jenner was there. Like, I was tuned into everything that was going on.
Oh my God.
And
what was Caitlyn Jenner doing there?
It was Pride weekend in Tel Aviv. Caitlyn Jenner and I were at the Wailing Wall at the same time. And I'm not saying that we did something at that wall. We did something at that wall.
Suspicious at best. It's suspicious at best.
It's just because I got Comics Come Home, I'm getting punished. And so the rest of the world is, right?
Oh my God.
So, yeah. So that first night I had downloaded the app, and you go to bed at 2 a.m. You're da-na-na-na-na-na, and you get ripped from sleep. And it says you have to get to a safe zone. And the shelters weren't even underground. They were at the end of your hallway, basically, of your hotel. So I'm on the 10th floor, and all they are is like reinforced. It's almost like there's a tube in the middle of the hotel. So it's like where the staircase is, it's sort of inset. And they're all connected by ladders and like chutes and ladders, literally. So like if you ever got stuck in these shelters, because it's a 30 floor building, you could get food and water through the ceilings and floors.
Wow.
It was like going into that shelter, I was like, also the guys were on a different floor than me. So I would run up to their floor so I could be with them.
Yeah.
And we go into our shelter the first night. We meet some woman in there named Yehudis. She's there from California.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it was also a whole hotel of ultra-Orthodox Jewish people and us. It was like them and these schmucks from America who are just here to tell funny ha-has.
Right.
And God help that woman, because the second that she laughed at one thing that we did, it was like an open mic in the bunker. I'm like, this is the worst escape room.
Oh my gosh.
I have. Can you imagine?
Oh my God. No.
She fell into that. And it's like, we're trying to work her at 2 a.m, trying to get a laugh,
Anything to take your mind off what's going on.
Well, that was it. I mean, thank God I was with Brian and Ray for so many reasons. Thank God.
Yeah.
One of the least of which being we laughed through this whole thing.
Right.
Because it was so absurd.
Yeah.
And when you allowed yourself to feel the gravity of what the reality of this thing was, it was overwhelming.
I can only imagine.
It was bad the first night. So you would like go to sleep, and then you'd be ripped awake at 2 a.m. and then you'd go to your shelter, and then you'd go back, and then you wouldn't sleep fully because you were waiting for it. And that was when the first night of about 7 sleepless nights started. So but when you sleep halfway, and you're sort of in this like fitful nappy zone, and you're waiting for it. It's like, just do it. Just let the alarm go off.
Yeah.
And we started to get into this habit of like going to your bomb shelter. And then I started to I was streaming the stories on Instagram, because it was just the best way for me to, I was getting messages from people, are you in Israel? What's going on? And the easiest way for me to do it was just to update my stories.
Right.
And I had gotten put in Instagram jail because the algorithm is very weird in different countries. And I had said there's not enough Xanax to get me through this. And so they put me in jail.
Are you kidding?
Because they said I was trying to deal drugs.
Oh my God.
Thanks, Instagram. So I couldn't communicate with anybody, but they could see my stories.
Right.
And which was also wild, because I was like, I don't know if you guys can see what's happening. I would like take them up to the shelter. You can hear the things, and you could hear the same sort of alerts every night. And then like on night 2 or 3, we were in the shelter and I heard an alarm I had never heard before.
Oh God.
And it was like this next level of an air raid siren. And then there were red lights going on outside. And I was like, oh my God, I just doubled over. And Yehudis, she's like a mom of 5. And she really has that mom energy of like, she grabbed my hand. She was like, you're absolutely fine. You're totally safe. Everything's going to be okay. And the amount of comforting that had to happen from the people who have been through this before. Mm-hmm. And what I said on my pod and what I still cannot get over is like, I couldn't square that they live like this and that this is their reality and that they were comforting me. Like when I was in the shelter in that other woman's home, first of all, she gave me a glass of wine, which good for her. Yeah. Wait, the brand is clear.
Yes.
Give me some wine, please. And she was like, she just doesn't understand, you guys. She doesn't understand. She doesn't live like this. And I was like, how do you?
Yeah.
How do you live like this? And my insides, if I got an autopsy at the end of this week, it was just raisins inside of me.
Raisins.
The tension. Like, you sense that when you get there is a weight, energetically speaking.
Yeah.
To this place. And
how could it not have done something to you? I mean,
oh my God.
It would have to. It would have to.
If you're like a sentient human, yes. If you're like a feeling being.
Yes.
It should garner empathy. You should let it change you. And it did. And it really did a number on me.
How did it change you?
You could say like,
what do you mean? How did it change you?
It just made me go, you sweat the small stuff. And there are much bigger things going on in this world that are beyond you. Mm-hmm. And to get out of your own way. Like, shut up is what I wanted to say to myself. Like when I get petty and small and think small. And look, we all do it. We're all in our own lives and we're all in our own lane and we're all obsessed with what is only just in front of us. And it's hard to see the forest for the trees, when you're staring at your hand.
Yep.
And it was exactly what I had asked for. Mm-hmm. But I didn't ask to be caught in the middle of a war.
Be specific, as you said earlier. Be specific.
Like I said, when you put your manifest out there, baby, just always cap it with, but not a war, please. Not a war. How we got out was really the wildest. This was the thing. So days go on. We're not sleeping. We're all kind of starting to come apart at the seams. There's a lot of infighting going on. What are we doing? Where are we going? Whatever. And we felt helpless because other decisions were being made for you. It's like, okay, there's our flight has not been canceled yet. It could still, airspace could open. You didn't know.
Yeah.
And then the same time you're hearing Netanyahu going, this is a 2-week campaign. And you're like, oh my God, we're like 4 days in. No, please, I can't keep living like this. You were so sleep deprived and you were so nervous because the reality was, as much as we all sat and laughed and did whatever, a missile could get through and it could hit you and it could be done. And that's what was happening.
Yeah.
That's what was happening.
Right.
The Iron Dome is incredibly effective, but the reality is things were getting through and they were getting barraged with missiles. And also the constant threat of, is there a nuke that they've already made? And I can't believe I'm saying the words I'm saying.
Right.
And my poor mother was like fit to be tied.
Oh, I'm sure.
I could FaceTime with them, like when I was back in the hotel. But she was like, I didn't even get out of bed today. I didn't change my clothes. And so she's seeing this all play out on American news, and we're also saying bizarre things. It was like, Judy was like, oh, Benjamin Netanyahu's son is getting married on Tuesday. They're probably going to open the airspace on Sunday. I was like, what in the weird Mad Lib are we talking about right now?
What? That's
and
crazy.
Then we start, the stories, my Instagram stories started picking up. Hundreds of people started watching them. Then the comedy community tuned into it. And then we're getting messages from comedy people who are wanting to help us from the outside. So I've never felt like so taken care of by our friends back at home. I get a text from Roy Wood Jr. He's like, we have a connection at CNN that can get you out through Egypt.
Wow.
And I was like, this was like on a Sunday. I was like, do we need this? Should I be looking to escape through Egypt?
Right.
And they're like, it's a little dangerous. It gets close to Gaza. And I was like, what is happening?
Right.
What? I have to find a way to get out of this country? So, okay, well, we think that the flights may start like this. You spend days in this. Will they, won't they? Is this going to end? Is this going to open? Will America get involved and send bunker busters? Like, what is happening? We don't know. So the helplessness of feeling like you cannot get out of this place was horrifying.
I can't imagine. Picture this. It's midnight and you're lying in bed, scrolling through this new website you found, hitting the add to cart button on that item you've been looking for. After 15 minutes, you decide you've done enough damage to your wallet and decide to check out. You remember that your wallet or your credit card is in the living room and you don't want to get out of bed to go get it. Just as you're getting ready to abandon your cart, that's when you see it, that purple shop button, that shop button that has all of your payment and shipping information saved, saving you time while you stay warm in bed. That's Shopify. And there's a reason so many businesses sell with it, because Shopify makes everything easier, from checkout to creating your own storefront. Shopify is the commerce platform behind 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. Shopify gives you a leg up from day one with hundreds of beautiful, ready-to-go templates to express your brand style, and forget about the code. Tackle all those important tasks in one place, from inventory to payments to analytics and more. Spread your brand's word with built-in marketing and email tools to find and keep new customers. And did I mention that iconic purple shop pay button that's used by millions of businesses around the world? It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. Your customers already love it. We've been using Shopify for years in our storefront at bertbertbert.com. It helps us keep everything organized, keep our business moving forward, fulfill our orders on time, and track our inventory. And it's super, super user-friendly. I can't use most websites, but I can use Shopify. So if I can, so can you. If you want to see less carts being abandoned, it's time for you to head over to Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/wife. Go to shopify.com/wife. Shopify.com/wife.
And so, Brian had called me at 7 a.m. on this Monday, and he goes, get online right now. We just got a flight out of Amman, Jordan to London Heathrow. So I was like, okay, it was for that Sunday. So I go online and I get a ticket to Heathrow out of Jordan. I don't know how we're going to get to Jordan yet. We don't know what that protocol is, but at least it felt like we were doing something to get ourselves out.
Yeah.
So, okay. And, at this point, the foundation wasn't calling us to see, nobody could do anything. They didn't know what to do. So we're like, okay, we have to engineer our own way out of this war-torn country as this is happening. We booked these flights. And then I felt calm, because I said, okay, now I have a mission. If I have a thing that I need to achieve, do it. Let's do it. I'm going to figure out how to get us to Jordan, whatever.
Yeah, let's go.
And thank God for Ray. Ray Ellen is the best person you ever want to be with.
Aww.
I'm saying this loud, proud. He is this guy who is so resourceful, and he's like a world traveler, so he really knows how to, and he's one of these guys who can talk to a brick wall. So he, long and short,
right,
finds a guy who can drive us to the Israel-Jordan border, and that guy has a counterpart that will drive us from the Jordan border to Amman. Okay, when are we going to do this? Now we need to start making plans. When are we going to go to Jordan? Our plane gets canceled 2 hours after we book British Airways.
What?
So now we panic, because we're like, we don't know. The airspace in Israel is closed, but there's no guarantee that they won't close Egypt and Jordan, because they're right next door.
Right.
So we're like, we just have to go. We have to go, and we're going to figure it out when we get there, but let's just get to Jordan for the fear of them closing anything down. So we arrange it with a guy. Ray is like, can you pack and be ready in 2 hours? And I was like, I am packed right now. Let's do this. So the guy picks us up, and we don't know. We also don't know. We know that we're going to get to Jordan. We know we'll get to the airport, and then we'll figure it out when we get there. We're making decisions minute by minute.
Right.
Because we just are so afraid of getting stuck in this country with the fear of like how much more is going to close around us before everything shuts down. And then now we're trapped like five countries deep in the Middle East. So, I get a whole bunch of shekel out, the wackiest form of cash ever. And we just start driving, and we're driving to the Israel border. And as we're driving, Ray is online, and he's looking at flights out that night. And he's like, do you want to go to Brussels? Do you want to go to Cyprus? We're literally like kids who were looking at a map and being like, where have you always wanted to go? Let's do it.
Wow.
So we were like, do we get a flight out of Brussels at 2 a.m.? And we're like, will there be missiles flying? No, probably. Yeah, we should probably see if we can get tomorrow morning. And we'll sleep at the Jordan airport. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
He ends up getting us 2 tickets, the three of us. It was me, Brian, and Ray. He gets us tickets to Rome. Never thought that I would end the week in Rome, but I was like, I've always wanted to go. I never knew it would be fleeing from a war-torn country where there are missiles flying from the sky. And the fact that it was heating up meant that we couldn't stay. Like the missiles were getting more. The going to your bunkers, that the frequency was picking up. They kept saying, we're going to do something bad. It's going to be something historic. And, it never happened. But it was like, you don't know what they have.
No, like, so, what is it? Yeah.
What is it? Imagine if it was like, we're bringing the whole Kardashians to be with Caitlyn Jenner. It's like, you don't know what their end game is.
Right.
So we drive to Israel. We drive through Israel. And it was like, you're seeing things you've never seen before. We drive past the Dead Sea. We see Bedouin tribes that are like people who were living in caves on the sides of the road. And you're seeing like, this guy's giving us the best tour we could ever want in the middle of a war.
Right.
And we get there and he goes, so this is as far as I can go. You have to walk over there. So there's like a passport office. And we're thinking, well, that's the Jordan border. Mm-hmm. So we go in and it's like Indiana Jones. You're in a wholly different like time period. There's also not a lot of English around. And we're going to like bring our passports up, and Brian sees this guy has a hat on. It says Gray Bull Rescue. And he goes, Gray Bull, I was just looking you guys up. They are a nonprofit company, which I swear to God, LeeAnn, if I become a multimillionaire, I'm giving these people $1 million. They perform military rescue operations. And this was a total fluke. And the guy was from Boston. It was so weird. Wow. This was like, if you don't believe in guardian angels, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, if all the things that have made me a believer on the trip to Israel, it's that how much had to fall in line to safely get us over this border is shocking.
Wow.
So we run into him and we caught them in the middle of them performing a rescue operation. There were like tourists there. There were people on like birthright stuff. There was this whole big group of pastors from Oklahoma, people from all walks of life and all, infirmities. They were older people. There was a guy in a wheelchair. Like this was hard for me to do with all of my faculties. I can't even imagine. So these guys are ex-military. They're Green Berets and Navy SEALs, and they all live in Florida now. So we caught them in the middle of this. Wow. And they were getting people from Israel to Amman, Jordan, and they were flying them to Cyprus, and then they were flying them from Cyprus to Tampa. Nonstop.
Right.
This was about 48 straight hours of travel.
Wow.
And we caught them in the middle of it. So we're like, could we get on that flight to Cyprus? And they said, we don't know if we can get you on because your names aren't on the manifest. And we were like, we traded numbers with them. One of them was a state senator who was fantastic. His name is Jay something. like yoked. The kind of guy, let me tell you something. If you haven't been hugged by a Navy SEAL, you have not lived a life. It was the most comforting thing ever.
I bet.
And so just seeing them and talking to them, it made me feel better. But then we go out and we think, okay, we've passed through this passport area. Our Jordan taxi driver should be over here. He's nowhere to be found.
Oh, God.
Ray calls him and he goes, oh, no, you're still in Israel. What? You're still in Israel?
What?
They said, he goes, you need to get over the Jordan border. For anybody who's ever traveling over the border of Israel and Jordan, which I do not recommend. First of all, buy a visa ahead of time, which is what we did online, which is the amount of Arabic that's in my inbox, my Gmail inbox, is shocking. So we had bought Jordan visas because we had the wherewithal to do that, like the foresight. It's like, how are we going to get in there? And to get from Israel to Jordan, you have to get on a bus that goes 15 feet over the border. That's it.
You can't just walk?
It goes another 50. You can't just walk. You have to get a bus ticket, and it's all a big racket of like money. That's all it is. But also, there's about 500 checkpoints between these two places.
In the 15 feet?
Yes. And I have also learned, my tip is like, if you are traveling internationally, get one of those Herschel satchels, those tiny things.
Yep.
Best thing I ever did, saved my life, because it kept everything right attached to me and in front of me the whole time.
Yep.
The amount of times you have to prove who you are. So we go out, the guy's not there. He's somewhere on the Jordan side. We don't know. And I said to Brian, I said, go over to the Gray Bull guys and see if we can get a ride to the airport. We don't need to get on their flight, but if they can just drive us to the airport, that would be amazing. And again, we don't know what we're going to do when we get to the airport.
Right.
We're making decisions by the second.
Crazy.
So they said, yeah, you can come on. And they lined us all up military style. I'll never forget the number 222 because the three of us made the group 222 people that they were moving from point A to point B. And they line you up and they ask you, they're like, everybody raise your hands if you're American. And then they say, everybody raise your hands if you're Israeli. No one raises their hands.
Of course.
They were like, good, let's try it again. Everybody raise your hands. Like, clearly they had been briefed, this group, on what you should or shouldn't do or you can and cannot say, which is chilling. So, we get on the bus with them and I finally feel like I can relax. The thing rolls over the Jordan border, goes another 30 feet, and we pull up in front of this other building. Somebody comes on and goes, everybody get off the bus and take all of your luggage off the bus. Why? Okay. We get off the bus and these guys who are in reflective vests come out of nowhere and they grab our bags and start running with them.
What?
Exactly.
Were they stealing them?
That's what you don't know. You don't know. We just know. I know there's a guy with my 2 pieces of luggage. I'm trying to stick with Ray and Brian, and this guy is running with my stuff.
Oh, my God.
And these people, again, it's just like a whole mixed bag of people. What they are they're local Jordanians who can make a buck off of tourist. They see tourist buses come in and they grab your bags and they run with them so that you'll think it's some sort of concierge service of somebody who's helping you and you have to give them money.
Oh, my God, to get your bag back.
But I didn't know any of that. Right. And how could I know? So he's running with my stuff and I'm like, oh, my God. And nobody speaks a lick of English and I'm not speaking a lick of Arabic. So we're literally doing this thing where we're just like grunting at each other.
Oh my God.
And he's like, and I was like, I have nothing. And I'm doing that American thing where I'm saying it, but just louder.
Yes.
And he was asking for money. And I used all my shekel on that ride.
Right.
I didn't have any cash. Brian comes over, Ray comes over, Ray starts looking for money and he's like holding on to my luggage. He won't let it go. Eventually he realized we didn't have anything.
Right.
And he had to like relent.
Yeah.
Then you go into the Jordan area and you have to have your passport and visa checked. It looks like it is 1973. These guys are in military uniforms. They've got guns over their shoulders and they're smoking. They're chain smoking indoors. I was like, oh my God. It was horrifying. Like, so you go up, you get your eyes scanned. They're saying your name to you and you're so aware of everything. Also, side note, your body is in fight or flight this whole time.
Right.
Everything is shut down.
Has to be.
Like, you don't feel hunger. You don't have to go to the bathroom. Nothing. In favor of just getting your body from point A to point B,
Right.
We
Wow.
get through finally. It goes through 3 more checkpoints. Now we're on the bus. It's 2.5-hour drive from there. Now we're on hour 10 of this day. And it was nuts because now you're driving through Jordan and it's like, I know that Jordan has royals. I don't know much about this country, but I know that there's some dirt poor places. That is for sure.
Right.
Buildings aren't really buildings. They're just sort of structures with holes in the side, and those are windows.
Oh my God.
And you're seeing what's like Time magazine covers as you're driving. And it's just such a wild, my eyes were like saucers. I was also in incredible shock at this point.
I'm sure.
After everything that we had been through.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, my eyes are going, remember everything because you will never see this place again.
Right? Not ever.
You know?
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
So like take a real big stamp
Yeah.
on your brain. And I saw a kid who was like sitting on a rooftop watching a sunset, and we're going through Jordan. And then you see it slowly start to get more Americanized. And I saw a Krispy Kreme, which was like the best thing I'd ever seen in my life.
What?
And we're still not knowing what's going to happen on the other side. We're going to get to the airport and we'll figure it out from there. At this point, we're like, we'll just sleep at the airport. And then at one point, this gal gets on a speaker and she goes, hey guys, bad news. The flight to Cyprus isn't going to go out tonight. It's too dangerous. So instead, Grable got us all hotel rooms. We pull up to this hotel. It was like the best thing I'd ever seen in my life. It was, and we walk in and they said, everybody leave your bags here. We've set out a buffet for you in the other room.
Oh my God.
We turned the corner and it was like the buffet from the kids from Jurassic Park.
Yes.
It was like there's cakes and pies and fresh fruit and the fresh vegetables and the best produce we've ever had. And I was like, I can't, we ate like they were taking it away. And we couldn't believe our luck that we stumbled into a place where we were going to have like a nice, clean hotel room for a night. We didn't think that was going to happen. We didn't even think we were going to eat. We didn't think any of that.
Wow.
And we found our way to that safety, and it was like more than we could even fathom. So we're like, we know we're going to Rome tomorrow. That is our plan. We're not going to get on their flight to Cyprus. We're going to Rome.
Right.
I'm going to see Italy for the first time in the most traumatic way.
Right? In the most crazy way. That's so crazy.
And then we got online. We got hotels in Italy because I was like, I'm not going to fly out the same day. I got a flight back to New York from Rome the next day. Mm-hmm. And, we just still felt like we weren't safe though. And my Homefront Command app kept going off overnight because it still thought I was in Jerusalem. I deleted the hell out of that app. I was like, we're done with this.
Yes,
I'm not
right?
in Jerusalem anymore. And we get to the Jordan airport and you still feel the tension. We ran into the guys from Grable the next day and they hugged us and I just started to cry.
Aww.
Because I was like, thank you guys so much for getting us to where we needed to get to. You have no idea what you guys have done and what they are doing, what these guys are doing. They go into dangerous places. Like I think Texas was the most recent thing, is that they'll go in and they'll like perform those rescue operations to get people out of the floods. They were in North Carolina when that got flooded. They go and do the jobs that nobody else wants to do. And they do that on purpose. They do it. They happily do it. They've created a whole company around it.
Wow. I've never heard of them.
That guy Jay this guy served in Afghanistan. He got his leg blown off and he performed surgery on himself in a bunker in Afghanistan. Like there's people that do amazing things in this world that do not get the credit or the money that they should.
Yes,
and
for sure.
that was overwhelming to me. Like when they hugged me, I was like, oh my God, you guys the world doesn't know who you are, and they should, because of what you're doing. And they got them all out. They got the other 200 something people out safely.
Wow.
And they were going back in 2 days to go get another round of people. They were performing this was like one of 5 operations they were going to be doing over there.
Wow.
So, we didn't feel safe until we touched down in Rome. And then the kind of final weird cultural thing was that we checked in for our flight. And the questions you always get asked every inch of this whole journey is, where are you coming from and where are you going?
Oh my God.
Where are you coming from? Where are you going? And we said, Ray goes, we're coming from Israel. And the girl goes, where? And he goes, Israel. She goes, where are you coming from? And he goes, Jerusalem. And she was like, okay. He said, that's creepy because they don't recognize Israel.
Oh, wow.
Like the word, even. That's the kind of stuff that I'm saying. And I'm like, how could you know? I wouldn't have known to even say Jerusalem. I would have kept saying Israel.
Yeah, you know? I was just thinking that. What are you supposed to say?
No, I wouldn't have known.
No, me neither.
And Ray was nervous because he's Jewish and doesn't have a very Jewish last name, but he was nervous.
Yeah.
And, you know, we also felt like we're not going to feel safe until our wheels are down in Rome. Because remember, we're technically supposed to be flying over kind of the same airspace. Our goal was just to get the first flight out to wherever we knew it had to be somewhere in like Europe,
right?
Basically.
Right.
And the amounts of like my poor credit card company is like, wait a minute, you're going to London, you're going to Greece. Where are you going now? Okay, now you're going to New York. Like, where the hell are you?
Make your mind up, lady.
Because right now, and that's another thing, money does not exist in a situation like this.
Right.
Whatever is going to get you to safety, make your credit cards cry. That's what we were doing. They were like screaming by the time we were done.
Right.
We get out. We touch down in Rome. And we all just were in such a state that I was like, oh my God, holy shit. Like, we are in Italy. I've never been to Italy before. And we just took showers. We're like, let's meet right now. Let's just go down. Let's go out. We went out. I was like, I have 12 hours in Rome. And suddenly we're at a cafe in the middle of Rome eating the Pope's favorite fruitcake and drinking iced cappuccinos.
Right.
And you're seeing Roman architecture. We're seeing the Pantheon. I saw the Trevi Fountain. I was like, what is happening? It was the wildest ricochet.
Yeah.
To be coming from this war-torn area where we're spending most of our times in and out of bomb shelters to suddenly see like the peacefulness of Rome.
All in the same continent. It's all on the same landmass, right?
Same area-ish. Yeah. But also it's like even to see the alphabet again was calming.
Wow.
And I was like, I could walk around Rome naked. I mean, they wouldn't want it, but I could walk around Rome naked and I felt totally safe to do it.
Yeah, right.
That was the other thing too. I was traveling through the Middle East, so I like covered myself up. It's the dead of summer and we're in the desert, but I was like, I don't know. My shoulders could be offensive and I didn't want to mess with anything. I wanted to make myself as small as possible traveling.
Right.
Because I just didn't want to draw any attention to myself. That was the biggest thing.
Right.
And look at this. This is all attention all the time. So to like try to dumb it down.
Yeah.
You know, to like I was like wrapping a bag over my head, just like look small.
Yes.
So the whole time you're doing this and you're just feeling tiny and just moving quickly.
Wow.
And suddenly you're in Rome.
Yeah.
And we're having this wild we went out for dinner that night. I had pasta, which I never eat. I drank wine, like a gallon of wine. And then it was also, I was very attached to these guys because then they decided, they're like, we're just going to stay in Rome for a couple of days and sort of decompress here. And I just wanted to get back to New York. I wanted to get back. I wanted to get back home. I knew that I needed to get back. So I got a direct flight from Rome to JFK. And it was weird to leave them the next day. It was like they were my whoopee, you know?
You were trauma bonded.
We were trauma bonded. And also, and this is what I said to them. I said, you guys could have done this without me, but I couldn't have done it without you. Because I really, as a female traveling there, you don't kind of know what weird pitfalls to look out for. You don't. I couldn't have done it without them.
Right.
And that's the absolute truth.
Yeah.
And so it felt like they were my brothers, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And so when I went to leave Rome the next day, I felt like really emotional because it was like, oh my God, okay, I'm doing the last leg of this journey by myself.
Yeah.
And it was a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
And it should have been because my body broke down on the flight. It was one coup de grace. And I got back to New York. They got me a wheelchair, which, wow, highly recommend. Even if you don't faint on a flight, get yourself a wheelchair on the back side so that you don't have to walk anywhere in JFK. JFK is a massive airport.
Right.
This was like an easy 20-minute wheelchair ride.
Wow.
I wouldn't have survived the walk.
Right.
And, the line for customs was huge, and I got to sit through the whole thing. I was like, finally, some rest.
Right.
When somebody's pushing me in a chair.
Oh, my God.
And I looked like a little old woman. And I thought when I got to New York and I saw America and I saw Jim and I saw my dogs, I thought, oh, I'm going to cry. Because I'd been crying through it the whole week. But I wasn't ever crying to my parents. That was the thing. Whenever they called, I would never act upset.
Right.
But then I would call Jim, and he was living also there 7 hours ahead, and I'm seeing him, and he's, out with friends or whatever. And I was just like, I would just burst into tears.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I felt so far away from home and comfort. And like when that woman said, this is God's plan, I thought, I can't die not near anybody or anything I know.
No.
Zero creature comforts, it felt I've never felt so far from anything.
Sure.
And so I thought when I got home, I would have a meltdown, and I didn't. I was just so tired.
Yeah.
It was something I had never felt before, like I lay down on the couch. All I did was sit down on the couch, and it was like the couch held on to me and pulled me in. It was like you feel every inch of your gravity. My joints hurt. My bones ached. It was like, imagine the worst flu you've ever had. Like those aches, but multiply it by 100. I've never felt like this before.
Wow.
And I had never gone through this before. Who has? Who's found themselves caught in the middle of a war zone and then found their own way out of a war zone to a whole other country you've never been to before, to fly to another country you've always wanted to go to before?
So crazy.
Like see how insane this story was?
Yeah.
And the next day it was like I couldn't function. And my friend Trixie, who's the best person in the world, she sent a nurse to my house with an IV.
Oh, wow. That's a good friend.
She's the best friend.
Yeah.
Seriously. It turned me around. And the next night I went back to Gotham, and I did 2 shows at Gotham the night after.
Oh, my God.
And it was wild to see everybody, because it was like they had all been hearing and watching, the amount of people who were watching these stories and the calls that I was getting. And it was all them. The comedy community was, it's like the most wildly supportive group of people.
It truly is.
That who we all function solo.
Yeah.
But when something happens like that and they get tuned into it, it was the messages I was getting from people were really phenomenal. And, it was, and everybody wants to hear the story because it's like, what a singular experience. But the singular experience I was having with Brian and Ray. And you can see in all the pictures and the videos that we took of, because I was taking videos throughout. But when the pictures of when we got to Rome, and I looked at them the other day, because I just hadn't looked at them. It's been a few weeks. And when you see how relieved we look, how like in all the pictures, like just genuinely happy, so happy to be there, so happy to be out of like harm's way and some imminent danger that you didn't know what was going to happen. And, again, we separated from each other in Rome. I haven't physically seen them since Rome, but we are still messaging each other. And it was interesting. We've all had a bit of our own sort of fallout from this. I won't say fallout. It's like an existential sort of thing. And I was talking to Ray about it. It was like, we had a hard time sort of just picking back up again where we left off, because it was like, it suddenly felt like all the bits that you've created felt hollow. It felt weird to go back into your act when you felt like disconnected from it. It was like you've come back knowing more than you left with.
Right.
And so to like go back into the words you've been saying feels very like, it's almost like you're putting on a shirt that doesn't quite fit anymore. It's a little bit stilted. So, but yet what this experience you hasn't distilled still right now fully. And so it's also, I foolishly tried to talk about it on stage less than 48 hours after I went home, and you can't. It's not funny to you yet.
It's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's too fresh. You have to give it a minute. And
it's the time.
It's the time. And you have to give the world a minute, 48 hours after happened to you is too fresh for the world. No one would have thought it was funny either. have to give it a
No,
minute
and
to
you could
breathe.
tell. I mean,
Yeah.
it was, you try to thread the needle, but you don't know how to thread it yet. And so we all have sort of had like a bumpy reentry and sort of going, does it feel, we're like, it all feels like, what's it all for? And we know that like that's going to burn off. It's been burning off because you have to
Yeah.
work and you're not,
And life goes
but
on
like,
in a certain way.
life goes on. And then like also it will come out the way it's supposed to come out, which for me, I write about it every day and I break down a little piece of it every day. And because there's just such ridiculousness in it. Like the idea that we got turned away from the U.S. Embassy was just hilarious.
I don't find that hilarious at all. I find it horrible. I can't believe that would even happen. Yeah.
And then it closed,
Crazy.
and that we had tried to get in touch with Chuck Schumer's office, and he said, go to the U.S. Embassy. His people said, go to the U.S. Embassy. And we were like, we tried it. It ain't working. And then it closed the next day.
It did? It closed the next day?
Yeah. Because it was under threat, and it was the Jerusalem one, because there's a couple of them, and that the Jerusalem one closed the next day, and I was like, wow. What? Because you don't know what they're targeting. You don't know they're targeting American spots. And the whole time you're there, you're also like, say, I just wanted a bunker buster to come in and end it. And it did. It did end it. But it was wild to get back. And, then we ended up, I was like, we got out of town. I ended up going into New Hampshire for a week just to recover. And the after effects that this had on my body, it was like, it took me a long time to get to like that twitchiness that was like how my sleep was for about a week.
Wow.
And I would wake up every day and it was like I was on a diet of Xanax and Imodium. My stomach was a mess.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't calm down unless I took an anti-anxiety, which I'm not really like a big pill taker. I have Xanax, but I don't really, I had it in case of like emergencies if you're feeling really keyed up. Mm-hmm. And when I would take it, that did the trick and it would calm my stomach down. I was like, oh my God, I literally have a nervous stomach from this.
Right.
So I went, my folks, we have a house in New Hampshire just on a lake. And I went there for a week and that was like life-saving.
How
It was very
relieved
restful.
were your parents? They had to have been just beside
the
themselves.
days, about 2 days, like we're from Boston. We don't cry.
No,
We
of
don't
course
like
not.
hug or touch. We don't show feelings.
Of course
What
not.
are feelings?
Why?
We don't grow up with feelings. And it was the day that I saw my mother cry because she was overwhelmed by what she was seeing on the news. And that was I think the day before we decided we were going to get ourselves out of the country. So they were, when I saw them, it was like, once I got to Jordan, it was the fact that I saw my father relieved really made me go, oh my God, I don't know what kind of hell they've been going through without showing me.
Right.
And then they were in New Hampshire, so I got to see them in New Hampshire, and it was like to physically be there. Oh, actually, I didn't. I went to Massachusetts right before I went to New Hampshire, and I saw my whole family. Like, they were having a barbecue that day. So like all my cousins. I have a really tight family. Like we're all really close. We're a big, loud group of people.
Yeah.
We're very similar.
Yes, we
very
are.
Very similar.
Very similar.
And so, like, I got to see them. I got my aunt her holy water. I can't believe I dragged it through 5 different countries to get to her.
That's
But
crazy.
I got her gallons of holy water.
And that guy ran away with it, didn't he? But you got it back.
But it came back because I was like, if I don't get this to my aunt, I will never hear the end of it. Here's 500 shekel. Give me my bags back. There's
Right.
holy water in there.
You have no idea what's inside.
And I bought a bottle of scotch for Jim. So I was like, gotta get him his booze.
Totally.
I just have to survive long enough to make it happen.
I mean,
So that's my story, LeeAnn. Do you have any questions for me?
oh my God. That's a crazy story. First of all, I'm really glad you're safe.
Thank you.
So happy that you and the other 2 gentlemen are safe. I mean, that's a miracle. Sounds just absolutely crazy. I mean, I don't know that I have any questions. I'm just kind of gobsmacked by the whole story.
See, I knew you would think it was wild. That's why I reached out. I was like, this story has twists and turns that you don't see coming. And when I told it to my Patty, my Dear Pod co-host, he was like, I didn't expect you to say any of what you said. He's like, I don't know what I expected. I just know it wasn't that.
Right.
And that, like the getting out of Israel to me is the wildest part of it. I mean, there's also a lot of weird, like there's a bore of war. It's like you sort of go, you can't leave your hotel. Nothing was open at that point, really. Right. They really had shuttered every store, restaurant, bar. There were like a couple convenience stores open. So it's like imagine COVID, but with missiles. What? And you knew that. I also felt like I couldn't walk anywhere on my own. I didn't know where I was. And I felt like I know that it's safe in theory, but I didn't want to be alone out there and have an alert go off. You know, so there's a lot of just downtime. There was a lot of times we were just in our hotel all day. And there was one day where like no alerts happened during the day. They all happen at night. That's how you terrorize people. Right. So that you can't relax. No sleep. You'll never know a full night of sleep. Right. That alone did a number.
Yeah. No sleep for night after night. It's like having a baby.
Yeah. But a baby, the baby could kill you too.
You know, slowly. One night at a time. One over little a course of like night at a time. But
18 years.
Well, I bet you just also didn't want to be separated. You know, what if you got separated from the guys and couldn't find them again or couldn't get back to them? The whole thing would be so scary.
It was very scary. And at one point they left, like the fact that we left to go do that show for Birthright Kids, that was it for me. And this guy, Avi, was still trying to like organize shows in hotels as you're going along. I'm like, I am not in the mood for like, let's perform in a barn right now.
No.
And so he had organized some like show in a hotel conference room. It meant that they had to go and get like an Uber ride there. I said, I can't do this. No. I can't. No. I don't have it in me. I'm in an ultra-Orthodox Jewish hotel where the pool was shut down. You couldn't go to the pool. You couldn't go to the gym. There was a bar in the hotel, but that was closed, which was my nightmare.
Right.
Until one day they opened it up for like an hour, and I happened to be in the right place at the right time. I got a martini. I was like, it's the best moment of my life.
Right. Thank God for that martini, right? A little relief or a little normalcy in the middle of the
normalcy.
chaos.
And that was the thing, is that you had a lot of hours in the day. Just a lot of hours in the day, and you just sort of sat waiting.
Oh, torture.
For that next trip back to the bunker. And you just looked into the future of like, I don't know how long this is going to go on. And, you know, we're all at the ends of our sanity. And so you're just trying to interact as a group. You're trying to like function as a group. So it's tough. You're none of you know, you can't be prepared for how you're going to react to that.
No way.
Emotionally, what it's going to physically do to you, which it really took like it took a toll on me physically.
Right. Do you feel like all that's straightened out, your physical?
Not really.
No?
No, it's for the most part it is, but every now and then I'll just like get kind of a nervous stomach. And it was funny because I wasn't paying attention. And when I went back to see my family, they were all like, this is the smallest we've ever seen you.
Wow.
And I just also think it was an after effect of literally physically wanting to make myself small and unseen while I traveled.
That makes sense.
I think there's something psychological to the fact that like make yourself tiny.
Right.
That like your brain is like, we got you. We're going to change your cells right now. And we're going to bring everything way down. And just the sheer stress of getting around and not wanting to eat. You couldn't, your body couldn't relax enough to like, well, at least mine, to like ingest food.
Right.
I just wasn't, I was in a state that I've never experienced before. Everything was something new, but now I'm starting to slowly level out. It's been a month. I'm looking at the date right now. I got back on June 19th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know,
so processing
trauma, real trauma, like that's real. Not that all trauma is real, but trauma like that's sustained over time, where you were in a trauma state for days and days and days, I think will show up forever. You know, you never really shake that. The sound of your phone going off at an Amber Alert even. And the nervous stomach may take a really long time. It just is so intense. You went through so many different types of trauma all at one time, you know, being trapped and having these bombs, and is there a nuclear, this uncertainty and not knowing the language, just being, I would imagine, in a state of emergency in a place where you can't speak, read, or understand the language would be far more scary than having it happen in a place where you could communicate with people, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that feeling the helplessness of going, I can't even begin to understand what these Arabic words mean that I am seeing in front of me. And it's, ever since 9/11, there is a creepy factor to that.
Sure.
There's a nerve-wracking aspect that you don't even realize is a personal trigger for you until you see it in your email and you're like, oh my God, I have emails filled with Arabic and I don't know what any of this means. So I don't know what I'm co-signing on to.
Right.
And then there was some weird stuff that was happening too, where it's like, I went back at one point when we were like in Italy, just to look at like some of the videos I had taken. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And my phone photo album was filled with weird propaganda videos and like videos of Pete Hegseth doing speeches and like videos of infrared, it looked like infrared bombings going on. When you see military operations and stuff like that, I was like, what is this? What is all this stuff on my phone?
Wow.
What was it?
Wow.
And then somebody was like, if you joined a WhatsApp group, your phone absorbs the videos and pictures that are in a WhatsApp group. And we had all joined all these different like WhatsApp groups to like know what the hell is going on.
Right.
It's how you like communicate with each other. But I was like, this is creepy.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that. We were like, what the? I've been prying all this crap off my phone for the past month going like, I don't need this video of Trump saying they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That video, it's like, all right, we got to get rid of whatever these apps are and get and delete it. But yeah, the aspect of the language, the linguistics, and you can't communicate even on a base level to understand what's happening as it's happening to you. You're like, it was wildly stressful. It's like clear and present danger is what it felt like. We were, it was not without my daughter. I was Sally Field.
Wow. Remember that movie? That was a crazy, crazy movie.
I will never forget that movie after this because I was like, oh, yes. And that's why I wrap myself up in like, a scarf and I'm like hiding my face.
Yes.
And I was like, I watched Sally Field and Not Without My Daughter, you guys. I know how this goes.
Right?
Okay.
I've seen the movie. It doesn't end well. Well, it does, but it doesn't. But it does, but it doesn't.
It's just not happy.
No.
It's not a feel-good movie.
No, not a feel-good movie.
You're not putting that on the background while you're cleaning the house.
Yeah, right? Oh, my God. No one is. That doesn't come on as a rerun ever. I don't think I've seen that movie forever. It's such
that and Saving Private Ryan. These are things that you don't just casually
for sure
throw on the TV.
So you're going to revisit this. You've been revisiting this by writing about it every day.
Yeah.
You really think you're going to develop it into a book?
It feels like it wants to be that, which is weird. Because again, like I said, I've never set out to like write a book. I don't know. Right now, as I work it through, because I really thought, well, this is something. I don't know what this is, but it's something. And I was like, is it stand up? And then I thought, it's a little too difficult to navigate. And like, it's such a political hot potato that it can really turn people off on stage. And that's not what I want to do in stand-up. Like, I want to keep it light. I want to keep it fun. I'm also recording a special in November. And I thought, I can't just jam this in.
No.
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
So I just was like, I started writing about it. And I don't know if we were taping when I said that somebody reached out and they said, this is a dystopian Eat, Pray, Love. And I said, but it's called Run, Cry, Pray.
Right.
So that's my working title right now for Run, Cry, Pray.
I love it.
And it's coming out in funny ways because it's actually like, as I'm writing about it, I'm finding the funny, absurd things and the weird connections to like, I wrote a whole thing about my mother the other day and how she was reacting to this. And then I realized that I don't have kids, so I don't understand the physical connection that you guys have to your kids because when I got back, she had the same symptoms as me.
Oh, yeah.
Like she had a stomach problem and like a deep fatigue, like because she wasn't sleeping the whole she was tuned into everything that was physically going on for me, and it was like her symptoms were mirroring mine, which I thought was interesting.
Very interesting, and I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
That's a cellular thing I can't even fathom.
I think it is a cellular thing, and I think it had to have been in a very different way, almost as intensely stressful, because she's in the dark. As much as you were in the dark with language and communication, she was in the dark as to what was happening to her daughter. I would put myself in her shoes and think about if one of our oldest daughter just studied abroad in Spain. If something had happened and I couldn't get to her, I would be a mess at a cellular level. And I would imagine once I had her safe, my body would break down also. Makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. That's really great that you wrote a piece about your mom. I love this idea of exploring this crazy experience and just kind of being open to seeing what comes out
where
of you.
It goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there, because you're a comedian, you can't help but find threads of humor in this crazy, tragic, traumatic, insane moment in history, really.
Yeah. And it's funny how it's coming out that way. It's coming out in forms of like travel tips also. So it's almost like it's like a travel guide through war-torn experiences. Every now and then I'll write like a travel tip.
Oh my God.
And they all start with, when you find yourself on the verge of nuclear war, here's a tip, ... And it's like, it's bizarre because there's just things that I have learned of like weird stuff, like always travel with a USB port internationally.
Right.
Those like how Apple keeps updating everything. So now everybody's getting rid of all their cords that aren't USB ports. Never throw out those little classic USB ports because those will be helpful to you everywhere. You can plug it into walls.
Yep.
You could plug it into yourself there, because like we would get on buses when we were on those buses from Jordan with that company. The first thing everybody did was pull out a USB port and they stuck it in the charger above their heads. And all you saw was all these cords dangling down because everybody was charging their phones that way.
Right.
So like weird travel tips like that is like how to pack when you find yourself on the verge of nuclear war. Like there's so much absurd funny to be found in it. And the way it's coming out right now is in book form. So I'm kind of like, let's just let that ride and see what it is. It may be a one-person show somewhere down the road, but right now it's really coming out in a way where I like the idea of a book of it because it gives you more room to like explore and sort of go off on tangents and come back around, I think, in a way. So I'm not stopping whatever this creative process is. I'm letting it show up the way it wants to show up.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
Making lemonade out of lemons.
Run, Cry, Pray, everybody, will be on bookshelves next year.
Run,
Make
Cry,
me
Pray.
richer than J.K. Rowling. I'd like some money after this experience because I bled a lot of cash to get out of that country.
I am sure. At least make it a break-even moment, if not better. Break even, if not better, right?
Budget was one of my travel tips, too.
Yeah, right. So I think after every chapter, you should have a one page that's just a travel tip, and then a chapter, and then a travel tip, and then a chapter.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's how it's coming out.
Yeah.
It's coming out as travel tips.
I love it.
And like there's a whole thing on the U.S. Embassy. There's a whole thing on the U.S. Embassy travel tips and stuff like that. So like it's a demented travel guide. Ultimately, I want you to learn something from my experience. Like I have travel tips on how to get over that border now.
Oh my God.
Because there's 3 different ways that you can do it. And I could talk about that for days.
Oh
so
my
it's like,
God.
that's a whole chapter right there.
I love it. I think that is so fun. And
Yeah.
that's so fun. I can't wait to read it.
You and me both.
Yes.
But it's happening fast. Like that's another reason why I feel like there's something here because it's flowing
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, you got to follow the flow. Always follow the flow.
Yeah. Don't stop whatever it is. And it helps me sort of work through the absurdity of what it was
Of course. Yeah.
that we went through. It was it wasn't really that long of a time in the grand scheme of things.
No.
It was maybe what? It was about 10 days. And a lot happened. There's a lot packed into those 10 days. So I'll be unpacking her for a while.
I think so. Well, I hope your 5-day cruise is much less eventful, or 7-day cruise.
That's what I said. I was like, and wow, am I going to pack differently from now on? I'm going to go on that cruise with like a pair of shorts and maybe a bathing suit top because you never know. I was like, I don't want to tempt fate. I'm going to end up going to the Dominican Republic. The ship's going to flip on its side. Something stupid's going to happen.
Don't even say it.
but I have to be prepared for it.
Bring your USB.
USB cords.
USB.
They work underwater, you guys. They're great. I thank you for having me and for taking the time and listening to the story. I just think it's a really interesting story.
It's a great story. And it's nice to see you and to catch up with you. And I'm so excited about your show at the Boston Gardens.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy about your next special filming. That's going to be exciting. You've got so many exciting things coming up.
I'm just happy to be alive.
Well, yeah. Exactly.
And that whole thing. So to have the Boston Garden coming up is a huge thing for my whole family. It's a big coup. And now I need to just write the rest of my special.
Yeah, there you go.
You know?
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
I don't sweat the small stuff anymore. I don't.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't
If you
either.
don't learn.
Well, thank you, Erin, so much. Thank you for coming and telling the story. I appreciate it. It was so nice to see you and talk to you. It really was.
So great to see you. Thank you for having me again. I love your podcast. I love talking to you. You're always a joy.
Well, anytime. You come on anytime you like. We're happy to.
Yay!
Chat.
I'll take you up on that. Then you're going to be like, Erin, you've been on the podcast 5,000 times.
No, I will not. But if not before, then come back on after you do your special so we can talk about Boston Gardens and your special. Let's do that.
Oh my God, yes. Let's make that a plan. That would be perfect.
I would love it. I would love to hear how they both
Hopefully
go.
live in person because I need to get out to you.
Well, come on over, girl. I got room on my couch.
I will. Good.
All right.
I'll bring muffins.
Tell Stephanie hi next time you see her. Okay.
I will. Thank you, honey.